All right, folks, this is Sherman Ray. This is the Livin in Vegas podcast. Time to get this show started. Right. Hey. Good morning, everybody. This is Sherman Ray. This is the Livin in Vegas podcast. I want to welcome you all to the show today. We talk to you about the people, the places, the trends, the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. And when you think of living in Vegas, folks, think living local and the return of cool. All right. Hey, well, welcome, everybody. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. I know I did. I got to tell you all about it. It was a very eventful weekend. Not only here for me personally, but in the city of Las Vegas. I mean, it's just, oh my gosh, crazy stuff. Crazy stuff was going on. I want to welcome all of our friends who are joining us on Facebook, and if you're watching us on YouTube, thank you so much for joining us. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and that way you can be updated on when we go online. And so we do that. I don't know. We're on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays now. So Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, and so not as often as we were before. We've just been getting so busy, folks. Just yeah, really super busy. But we want to be able to come to you and get you up to date all the time. Okay. So welcome all of our friends who are watching us on Facebook. I'm refreshing our page right now. Boy, that's very interesting. I don't know how that works, but so I'm looking on my Facebook pages, and it looks like weird because I do a lot of this stuff before I get on the show, and it's funny how sometimes you'll get these weird signs that say, "Hey, guess what? You did this, and that," and it's really not true. It's kind of, I don't know what they want you to do, but they just somehow. Anyways, if you would like to say hello about on our Facebook pages, whether it be on our Livin in Vegas pages or our Livin Weekly or Black Success Magazine, definitely do that. And I'm here. I can actually see you, that kind of stuff. And many of you are already looking at my shirt, and you're saying, "Sherman, what's up with that shirt?" And actually, many of you know this already. I'm a UNLV Rebel booster, and I've been a Rebel fan for many years. I still have a lot of Rebel stuff. I mean, I've got old stuff. I went to UNLV. Many of you know that. And when I went there, I've got more scarlet and gray stuff than you could imagine. I really do. I actually got probably way too much. And I'm always looking for more. As a matter of fact, when they were going to do away with our mascot, and they've already since have done that, I went online and bought some of the little what are they called? Upholstered patches, that kind of stuff. And I got some of the last ones there. This shirt right here is probably, you can't see really close, but it is probably 30 years old. Yeah, it's probably 20 years, at least 20 years old. Okay. And so I've had it. I've got other shirts, all kinds of Rebel shirts, but I thought I would wear this because we're going to talk a little bit about UNLV today. And so it'll be cool. It'll all tie in. For those of you that are just joining us for the first time, this might be the first time you ever see me, ever hear of me. I'm Sherman Ray. I'm the publisher, Livin in Vegas magazine, and we encourage you to go to our website at livininvegas.com. It's livininvegas.com. You can check out our magazine. On that same page, folks, you can actually get the current edition of Livin Weekly magazine. And many of you know this. That's right. On the front cover. So this is actually really appropriate because I wrote this article about the Aces a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, a couple of weeks ago. And I've been predicting this, folks. And I keep saying it. I'm going to keep saying it. That the Aces are going to win. They're on a collision course with the title. They're on a collision course with the WNBA title. I've been telling you it all year long. I know some of you are getting tired of it, but that's just the way I am. I love the Aces. I've been predicting they're going to win it all. They're going to take it all. Love me some Becky Hammond, but I love me some Chelsea Gray. She finally got my points that I wanted. Very cool. So they swept the I don't know who they were playing. It doesn't really matter. They swept the quarterfinals. They're going into the semis. I didn't get to watch the game Saturday. I'll tell you all about it in just a minute. But the reason why I didn't watch the game, but I was really very confident that the Aces were going to win it. So very excited. Anyways, let's pay a bill or two, and then we'll be back in just a second with more Livin in Vegas podcast. Hi everybody, it's Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast. Are you a business owner that's looking to get the word out about his product, service, or even just a great message out there? Well, we'd like to give you that opportunity by being a guest on Livin in Vegas podcast. It's super simple. All you got to do is contact us at advertising@livininvegas.com. That's advertising@livininvegas.com, and we'll schedule you for an interview on Livin in Vegas podcast. I'm Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast, where we talk about the people, the places, the trends, and the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. We're back, folks. It's Sherman Ray. This is the Livin in Vegas podcast, where we talk about the people, the places, the trends, and the events shape the city of Las Vegas. So this weekend, folks, I was out of town. I went out to Lake Mojave, and a couple of my friends who I know them fairly well. They're my wife. They're really my wife's friends, but they said, hey, I can tag along, and so we went out on their pontoon boat, which is cool. They had a three tune boat, and we docked over there at Willow Beach, and then we kind of hung out in a couple of coves down there, and then we came up the river towards Lake Mead, and stopped over at we went to Willow Beach first. So we were at Willow Beach first, over at Searchlight, and then we came up to Willow Beach. Very fun. I mean, just had a great time hanging out there. You could tell I worked on my tan a little bit. I'm actually a lot darker than I normally am. And Jamaican, and my wife loves it. She goes, oh, honey, you're so pretty, your Jamaican skin. And we were slathering on sunscreen and stuff like that. And top of my head generally got it. So I am a little sunburned. Yes, Jamaicans get sunburned, man. And so the shoulders are a little sunburned, but I'm all good. It's all good. As we were coming back, this is what the story was. I'll tell you a few stories here. So on the boat, the guy who owns the boat, his name is Eric. And good morning, Craig. I just saw that you liked the show. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's Craig Keating. He's a good brother in the Lord. He's a great guy. Just telling the story about my trip to Lake Mojave and up the river. So the guy who owns the boat, it's Don and Eric. So Don and Eric, great couple, and then Caesar was with us. I love Caesar. Caesar's from Nicaragua, and he's a real cool guy. He's an architect and just a funny guy, and they're just a delightful couple, and of course the lovely Mrs. Ray and I. So we're coming up the river, and I'm looking at the water lines, because normally what we see here in Las Vegas is we only see views of Lake Mead, and we see the bathtub ring around Lake Mead. Well, on the river, it's a whole different thing. So on the river, on the Colorado River, as you go down the river, so many of you know, Lake Mead is a big bathtub, right? It's a holding pond for water that gets released down the Colorado River, and then so everything down the Colorado River looks totally different than what it looks like in Lake Mead. So Lake Mead's got the bathtub ring. Colorado River, all the way down the river, it's pretty, I mean, it's actually high. It's actually a little higher than what, and this is what Eric is telling me, because Eric works for the water district. And so I won't tell you any more about Eric, but we had a conversation. We're going to write an article about it this week for Livin Weekly magazine. You are going to want to read. Okay, this is really important, folks. Many of us see the satellite imagery that talks about the water level and stuff like that, and there's no doubt about it, the water level at Lake Mead is down precipitously. Okay, it's way down. Okay, then it's at record levels, that kind of stuff. But we're not getting the entire story, folks. This is really. I'm not going to say I'm conspiracy brother because I'm not conspiracy brother. I am almost conspiracy brother. So every time I see something, I go, hmm. I mean, I've lived for quite a few years now, and every time I see something now, I go, I wonder why we're getting this part of this story and we're not getting a balanced view. So, like I said, Eric works for the Water District. I'm going to be writing a story about it for Livin Weekly magazine because getting the uh, getting the story from a water guy is a whole different thing than getting it from these people who are working for the city or working for the state or anything like that. It's a different story. It's just a different story, and it really confirmed what I was thinking already. So don't. I'll give you more information on it later, but we'll talk about that a bit. This was so interesting. Let's talk about what's going on, and it's this top story basically. So this weekend, folks, we had a tornado. Oh yeah, there was a tornado, and it was spotted. Where was it spotted at? In Mesquite, and in one of the places. There were actually two of them. So one was spotted in Mesquite, Nevada, which is just kind of north to the northeast of us, and the other one was in Littlefield, Arizona, which once again is just on the Arizona side of the Nevada border. And so the unusual thing about the whole tornado thing is we've not. It's very rare we ever see them, anyways. But I think the last one they said we spotted here in Las Vegas or in the Nevada area was in 2007. So we have seen them before, but it's very very rare that we see them. Very rare, and so freaked out a lot of people and social media, all over social media that people saw that they did videos of this. As a matter of fact, on Twitter, I saw this, and the guy actually had a long camera view, and he showed the as it was touching down the tornado as it touched down. Very, very sobering. Sobering, I guess, would be a good word for it because you go, oh my gosh, there's actually a twister touching down out in the middle of the desert. Now we were out at the lake, and the water, and you could see that it was getting a little windy because we were out there Saturday. We were out there all day Saturday. We got there 7 in the morning. Didn't leave till oh my gosh, it was late. We left at 5 o'clock, something like that, 6 o'clock in the evening. So we were there all day long on the lake diving, and I found out something, folks. I need to swim more. I almost drowned. So we're out in the middle of the river, right? And they go, okay, go ahead. It's time to jump in the water because it's hot. Let's go ahead and cool off, and we're going to get our first dip in the water. Now, folks, here's the thing about it. I'm not as young as I used to be, even though I look it. I look fairly young, but I'm not as young as I used to be. And physically, I feel great. I do. I mean, I go out riding all the time. When I go riding, I usually do 20, 30 miles a day. So that's my normal thing. And but there's a big difference between riding a bicycle and jumping into 80 feet of water or 50 feet of water. There's a big difference. And because you don't touch the bottom. You just don't. You kind of jump in and you go like a cat, right? The claws come out, but there's nothing to grab. So I found out that I need to swim more often. Got to do that because it could kill you. So let's talk about another article that I do actually have display on. So I'm going to switch over to display mode, folks. I'm going to get over here and, oops, let's do this. Oh, it's not going to go. Okay, I'm not going to be able to do it. Can I? All right, I'm going to do this anyways. I'm going to see if I can. No, it's not going to work. So there was an article about our top water users in the valley. Now, this is eye-opening, and it goes back to what we were talking about before, about me getting an inside scoop on what water usage is like in Las Vegas as opposed to what we're actually being told is going up. So there was an article, and we'll post all this stuff to our website at livinginvegas.com, so you can check it out. It's very, very interesting. They were talking about the top water users in the valley, and they said the actual top private property owner, is the Sultan of Brunei. And many of you know he lives over in Spanish Trails. He's been there for decades. He's got a property that used 13 million gallons of water in 2021. 13 million gallons of water. What does that mean? Really? So when you hear a number 13 million gallons of water, you know it's a big number. So you know it's a big, big number. But really, how does that compare to other people? Okay, so his water consumption, I'll give you a little bit more. His water consumption, and we'll post this. Like I said, you can check this out. This is, get you. They said his water usage is actually up from 2020. In 2020, he only used 12 million gallons. So in 2021, more. Sultan of Brunei lives over in Spanish Trails. He used 12 million. In 2021, he used 13 million. So to give you an idea of how much water usage this one person, who doesn't even live in the house, as far as I know. I've known the Sultan of Brunei who owned that house back in the 80s, as far as I remember. Was it in the 80s? Because I remember I was a bartender years ago, and I think he owned the house back then. Anyways, his water consumption is 100 times more than the average home. 100 times more than the average home. That gives you kind of context. So let's say you've got a house, 1,200 square foot, average house. It's about average house. He uses, and you've got a couple of kids. Let's say you have 3 kids, 4 kids, whatever. Little Susie takes a shower, you take a shower, you have a little bit of water, blah, blah, blah. Water the grass every once in a while. Okay, not too much. Sultan of Brunei has that one guy, the one house, uses 100 times more than an average household. That's a lot of water. That's a lot of water. Okay, so, and we won't get into, so I'll go with the rest of the story. This is very interesting. And I know some of you are watching this morning going, really? Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's a lot of water. It's just a buttload of water that this guy uses. It's just crazy. And the thing about the Sultan is that he should know better. Because even if you, let's say, lived in Jersey, you would know better that you don't need to use that much water. Come on, it's just ridiculous. And the interesting thing about it is that this weekend we were just told as a community that our water usage here in the state of Nevada, our allocation from the Colorado River has been cut by 8%. Okay. Interesting thing about this, and we talked about this a little bit Friday, and we've talked about this before ad nauseum, is that the allocation that we were given in the 30s. Okay, don't quote me on this. Please don't quote me on this, folks. But I'm pretty sure of this. Okay, but it's pretty close. We were back when the Hoover Dam, Boulder Dam, whatever you want to call it, was finally built back in the early 30s. Okay, mid 30s. That we were given an allotment of water from that. Okay, it's right in our backyard. We were the ones who, during the Great Depression, still had full employment because all of our folks were working on the dam, plus people who came from all over the world, or actually all over America, came to work on the dam. So we got through the Great Depression just fine because we were right in proximity to the dam. We were allocated a certain amount of water based upon our number of people that lived in the valley at the time and projections of what it could be. Okay, so people are pretty smart. And they said, okay, this is how much water you need. This is how much you're going to get. The rest of it goes to Arizona, New Mexico, California, Mexico. Okay, that kind of thing. Utah. Okay, and so there's quite a few states that actually share in that water load, but we get about that much of the water, okay, that comes out. Here, I'm going to put that one. Not that much of the water, which is about 2% of that water that comes through the Colorado River actually comes to Las Vegas. It's about that much. Okay, don't quote me again, but it's a really small amount. I'm not a water engineer. I don't know, but it's really small. And based upon the conversation I had with one of the guys this weekend and my own research, I know this to be true. Anyways, Las Vegas, even though we use or our population has risen. I've been here since '63, folks. When I was here in '63, there were about 100,000 people in the valley. I know. There were a little bitty. There was a little conclave of us. We all kind of huddled around a little teepee. No, I mean but it was very small. It was a very small amount of people that lived here in the '60s. Very small group of people. Now, in the metro area of Las Vegas, there are about 2 million people that live in the metropolitan area of Las Vegas. So we're talking about Las Vegas, Henderson, that kind of stuff. Okay, the Strip. That's the metro area. 2 million people. There's only 3 million people in the whole state. Okay, 3-point-something million. We still do not use up that allotment of water that we were allocated from back in the 30s. Okay, we still don't use that much. Even when they cut the water, our water, now they just cut the water that we're going to be using by 8%. And people are really freaking out. They're going, oh gosh. And the lake level's gone down and everything else. And we're not going to be able to do this. We'll never have water. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, we're going to move out of Vegas, that kind of stuff. I'm here, and this much I will tell you, folks. I will allay your fears. We are not going to run out of water. Okay, we do not use up, even with the amount of water that we use and the amount of increase of people that came here from California and all over the world and are swelling up and everything else, and we've got more homes, we got all this other stuff, and even the graphic that you'll see on our website. Even with all of that, we still do not use and have never used up our allotment of water that we were allotted from back in the 30s. Okay, that's how good we are with water. Plus technology, which I'm going to be writing about. You're going to see this whole thing. Plus the technology that has been employed through our water district and everything else. These guys, they really should get a raise. They really should, because part of our ability to do some great things in the valley and be able to reduce our consumption of water and still be able to have pools and still be able to have golf courses and all these great things that we enjoy here in the valley are as a result of technology and you and I just being good stewards of our water. Okay, I just wanted to tell you that. Okay, I really did. I want to pat everybody on the back because we've been doing such a great job with everything else. Here, let's pay another bill here, folks, and we'll be back with more of the Livin in Vegas podcast. Hi, everybody. It's Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast. Are you a business owner that's looking to get the word out about his product, service, or even just a great message out there? Well, we'd like to give you that opportunity by being a guest on Livin in Vegas podcast. It's super simple. All you got to do is contact us at advertising@livininvegas.com. That's advertising@livininvegas.com, and we'll schedule you for an interview on Livin in Vegas podcast. I'm Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast, where we talk about the people, the places, the trends, and the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Back, folks. This is Sherman Ray. This is the Livin in Vegas podcast, where we talk about the people, places, the trends, and events that shape the city of Las Vegas. I know we went on and on about the whole water situation, but this is probably, if nothing else is important, folks, that is important. It's just probably the most important thing in the desert. I mean, golly. I mean, we can talk about all kinds of stuff, but that's probably the most important thing is our water and just living in Vegas. Many of you know that this weekend there was a concert over at Legion Stadium, and there was a fire. Oh yeah, it was a big fire over there. I saw a story on this, which is really pretty kind of disturbing. That they didn't know what it was initially. Where's that story at? Okay, so it was all over over the Twitterverse and all over social media that there was a fire. They come to find out that after the concert was over with, somebody's car caught on fire. Yeah, somebody's car caught on fire next to Allegiant Stadium, so it wasn't actually wasn't Allegiant Stadium itself. It was next to Allegiant Stadium that this fire broke out, and so it's kind of a scary thing, that because the place just got built, so nobody wants anything to ever happen to Allegiant. No, we don't. And we don't have a lot more time, but I want to get this story in. So, congratulations to all you folks who went out to Cashman Field this weekend, and you were able to be sworn in as American citizens. Yay! Isn't that awesome? So it was during the Las Vegas Lights game, the FC Lights, our football club. They were playing against Sacramento, and so on the 20th, which is a couple days ago, they actually had a really cool ceremony. So congratulations to you. It is the largest number of candidates who were sworn in as American citizens in a long, long time. I mean, it's a long time. In attendance, it says, and we'll post this again to our Livin in Vegas website. In attendance were 700 new U.S. citizen candidates representing 84 countries. Come on. Wow. Wasn't that cool? 700 U.S. citizen candidates. That's a lot of people. I mean, it really is. And I'll tell you, that's really what America's about. And you can, I know there's a lot of stories about people coming over the border and stuff like that. And what they're missing things. They're really missing the whole thing. These people who became American citizens now can hold their heads up and be proud of the fact that they did it right. They did it legally. Okay. Yes, it is an arduous and sometimes impossible journey to become an American citizen, but you're doing it the right way. You really are doing it the right way, folks. And there are people. There was a time in Americans' history that they said, "Hey, anybody can come in. Anybody can come in. Just come in, get a tract of land, and just do some good things, and we'll pay you to be an American citizen." Okay, those days are gone. Okay, now it is there's a right way and a wrong way of coming into this country, and I am not ashamed of saying that I am so proud of the folks who did it the right way. Some of them probably spent 10, 15, 20 years to become an American citizen because it's worth it. It really is worth it to become an American citizen and doing it the right way and standing there and saying, I pledge allegiance, and I do pledge my allegiance to this country and to what its ideals are. They have more skin in the game than most naturally born American citizens who know nothing about our country or know nothing about Las Vegas. I know I'm getting on my high horse. I probably shouldn't do it, but I did. And that's the way it is. Okay, so 700 new citizens sworn in over Cashman Field. Congratulations. And on top of it all, we won the game. Yay! Very cool. Also, once again, our Las Vegas Aces are going on to the next quarterfinals. So they went quarters, so now they're in the semifinals, which is great. They're on their way, folks. They really are on their way. They're the number one seed. Thank you so much, folks, for supporting them. Thank all the folks over at the Raiders who saw them. They saw it as I did personally. I know it's not about me, folks. I have nothing to do with the Aces, other than the fact that my prayer has been for them to become number one. As a matter of fact, we'll actually share the story of Asia Wilson, who is our center, and how she really still had a bitter feeling because we got beat game 5 of the semifinals last year, or especially in the finals last year, and so we lost. So she still has has a bitter taste in her mouth about losing, and has been carrying that all year long. And now She is on the cusp. Yes, the cusp of greatness with the Las Vegas Aces. So excited, just so excited to see these girls. Anyways, folks, we're done today. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. If you want to see any of the articles that we didn't get up, and we got tons of them, we'll put them on our Facebook page. We'll actually put them on our, on our website at livininvegas.com. That's livininvegas.com. And be sure to be on the outlook, or to be on the lookout for our story about water here in the valley in Livin Weekly. It's going to be really good. Very excited about it. Anyways, we will see you again Wednesday when we'll talk more about the people, the places, the trends, and events that shape the city of Las Vegas. I'm your humble host, Sherman Ray, publisher of Livin in Vegas magazine. We'll see you again Wednesday, 8:30, when we'll talk about Livin in Vegas. We'll see you later.